What do you want from life? A few months ago, I was working and I began talking with my dad come to do a service on my job. We were talking about the future, about technology. In a certain time, he asked me, I still don't understand what do you want from life? That question hit me harder than I expected because the truth is, I didn't have a clear answer. We spent so much time serving, working, pay bills, following routines, that we rarely stop to ask ourselves, what do we actually want? Not to what your parents want, not to what the society expects, not to what look good on the Instagram, but what do we truly want? Do you want freedom, peace, money, impact, love, adventure? Or are we just moving without direction? That moment made me realize something powerful. If you don't define what you want from life, life will define it for you. And most people end up living by accident, not by intention. So let me ask you, honestly, when was the last time you sat down and asked yourself what you truly want? Not the safe answer, not the socially acceptable answer, but the real one. Because clarity changes everything. Once you know what you want, you can align your decisions with it. And maybe that's the difference between existing and truly living. But here's an uncomfortable part. Sometimes we don't ask ourselves, what do you want from life? What do we want from life? Because we're afraid of the answer. What if you want doesn't match the life currently living? What if you realize you're on the wrong path? It's easier to stay busy. It's easier to follow script, school, job, promotion, marriage, retirement. No one really teaches us to pause and ask, is this my dream or someone else? And that's dangerous. Because you can spend 10 years climbing a ladder only to realize it was leaning against the wrong wall. I think that's why that main question stayed in my head. It wasn't judgmental. It was not aggressive. It was simple. And simplicity is powerful. What do you want from life? Not what you're doing. Not what your plans. Not what is your 5 years strategy. But what do you want? There is a difference. Plans can be borrowed. Dreams cannot. And maybe the reason so many people feel lost isn't because they lack ambition. It's because they lack clarity. We chase money thinking it will give us freedom. We chase status thinking it will give us respect. We chase relationships thinking they will give us completeness. But if you don't know what you truly want, you will keep chasing things that you don't actually satisfy you. And then one day, you wake up tired, not physically, but mentally. Because you've been running without knowing where you're going. Another thing I realized is this. Your answer will change. What you want at 18 years old is not what you want at 25 years old. And you won't be the same at 4 years old. The problem isn't to change your mind. The problem is never questioning your direction. Maybe at one point you wanted success. Now maybe you want peace. Maybe you once wanted recognition. Now maybe you want anonymity and freedom. There is no right answer, but this is our right responsibility. And that responsibility is being honest with yourself. Because when you lie to yourself about what you want, you're slowly building a life that feels foreign to you. And that's a quiet kind of suffering. The kind where everything looks fine on the outside, but something feels empty inside. So maybe instead of asking, what do you want to achieve? We should ask, what kind of life would make you feel, would be proud of your courage, your discipline, your kindness, your independence? Maybe the real question isn't even about goals. Maybe it's about alignment. Are your daily actions aligned with the person you want to become? Because life is not built in big decisions, it's built in small daily decisions. And if your small daily choice don't reflect what you say you want, then you don't really want it. You just like the idea of it. And then another hard truth. Sometimes we don't want the dream. We want the image of the dream. We want the applause, but we don't want the sacrifice. So let me bring it back to you. If someone walked up to you today and asked, what do you want from life? Who do you hesitate? Who do you give you a generic answer? Or who do you speak with certainty? And if you don't know yet, maybe that's where you start. Not with a 5-year plan, not with pressure, just with awareness. Take time alone, no phone, no noise, no distractions. And ask yourself honestly, if fear didn't exist, if money wasn't a limitation, if no one could judge me, what would I want? And then maybe ask another deeper question. Who do I need to become to deserve that life? Because once something is easy, become the person capable of sustaining it. That's the real work. And maybe that's what that man was really asking me. Not what I was doing, but who I was becoming. So I will leave you with this. Don't let life happen by default. Choose it, define it, question it, define it again if necessary. But don't drift through it unconsciously. Because one day, someone might ask you, what did you want to life? And the real tragedy would be not having an answer. Not because you failed, but because you never decided.